Okay, so here is a video for the fall final review. You will see some of these problems on the test. You might not see all of them, but some of these are definitely fair game. Okay, not the exact problem, but the type of problem for sure. All right, so number 1 says, evaluate the following expressions if m equals 2 and n equals 3. All right, so we have some expressions below, and I gave you a hint. I said solve inside the parentheses first. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of my m's that I see with green, just to kind of save me that step later on, because I know I need to substitute 2 in for every m. And then I'm going to go ahead and highlight all the n's with orange, because that's what 3 is going to be substituted in for. Okay, so again, I love color when doing this stuff, so it's just really helpful. So here, I'm going to have to substitute in. So I'm going to go and zoom in on this one. Remember, throughout the video, you guys are going to want to pause a lot, try the problem on your own first. I'm going to go fast, so you're going to have to take charge of, pausing it so that it's at your pace. I'm going to go as fast as I can just to get the video over with so that you can, go at your own pace by pausing the video. So I plugged in a 2 for m and a 3 for n because it tells us m equals 2 and n equals 3, okay? So now if we simplify, 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 times 3 is 6 minus 1. 12 plus 6 is 18 minus 1 is 17. So that one is 17. And I'm following PEMDAS here. Okay, so P is the parentheses. That means simplify inside the parentheses first, and then apply any exponents, and then do multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. Okay? So again, pause the video if I go too fast for you. All right, so now for this one here, okay, same idea. I'm just leaving like a blank spot for my M and N's so I can change my color a little bit easier here. So my M is 2, my N is 3, okay? So 2 plus 1, I'm going to simplify inside my parentheses first. 2 plus 1 is 3, minus 5 minus 3 is 2, and now 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, so there's that one. And then this one down below, so I have 5, and then I'm going to plug in the M there. Plus 2 times 3 minus 3 times the n. So here the m is 2 and the n is 3. Okay, so following PEMDAS, I need to simplify inside any parentheses first. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead and plug in, or 2 times 3 is 6. I'm not plugging anything in. And then I could go ahead and simplify this up here too as well. So 5 times 2 is 10, and I still have the over 2. And then I can also simplify this now. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so you can kind of combine, like there were no exponents here. So I did the parentheses first, and then I saw, okay, I have some multiplication I can do as well. Okay. 10 divided by 2 is 5, plus 6 minus 9. Go make this a little bit smaller here. 5 plus 6 is 11, minus 9 is 2. Okay, so that one's 2. And now over here, I don't really have much to write besides those. So my M's are 2, and then my N's are 3. Okay. So I see here that these don't touch the parentheses at all, so I can go ahead and simplify this. 2 minus 3 is negative 1, and then I need to simplify inside here. 2 times 3 is positive 6. Negative 1 plus 6 is the same as positive 6 minus 1, so your answer is 5. Okay? So again, pause the video because I'm going to go fast, and it's up to you to pause it to be at your own pace. You should be doing the problems first and then using my video to check your work and to check your answers. All right, simplify each expression by combining like terms. You can use like circle, triangle, square, or something like that for like terms to show your work. I like to use color. I think you guys know that, but I'm going to go ahead and use color. So anytime it says simplify, it means combine like terms. So I'll just start here. So I see the 3 is a constant, so is the negative 2. There's no variable there. I have here the 7x and the 3x. And then I have 4w and negative 6w. Those are like terms. Okay? So 3 minus 2 is 1. 7x plus 3x is positive 10x because those two are both positive. And then 4w minus 6w is negative 2w. All right, so I could leave it like that. You guys will have a multiple choice on the final, but technically you would want to write it in standard form. So the x would go first because that's the first letter in the alphabet between x and w. And then my 2w, and then the 1 would always go at the end because that's the constant. So technically this is the correct standard form. But I mean, once you get these terms, you can look at your multiple choice answer and see which one has those terms in the answer. Okay, so same idea here. I see I have 5ab plus 2ab. So those are like terms. And then I have a positive 6 and a positive 1. So those are like terms because they don't have a variable. And then I have a 3xy and a negative 2xy. And I have a positive 6y. So that one doesn't have any other like terms. So let's go ahead and combine our like terms. 5ab plus 2ab is 7ab. I'm going to go and put it right into my standard form just because I recognize the x's would go next because it's xy. So 3xy minus 2xy is just 1xy. And you technically don't even have to write the 1 there. It can just be plus xy. And then my 6y is all by itself. There's nothing else to combine it with. And then the 6 plus 1, that's going to be 7. So this is actually in standard form. I did it in alphabetical order. The y by itself goes after the xy because the x comes in this in that term. So it makes it go before the y. Okay, so again, please pause the video if you need to get caught up. All right. So Jose tried to simplify the expression below. Explain what he did on his first step, then simplify completely on your own. All right, so here, looking at this first equation here, so 7y plus 2 minus y minus 3 minus 5x. And the 3 minus 5x is in parentheses. So it looks like the only thing that changed here was this down below, because this 3 inside the parentheses is positive, and now it's negative. And the 5 was negative, but now it's positive. Okay, so we want to see, all right, what did he do to make that change? It looks like he distributed the negative into the parentheses. So he distributed, or we'll just write distribute negative into parentheses. Okay. And now we're going to simplify by combining like terms because that is the next step for us here. So simplify by combining like terms. Okay. So I'm going to go and use my highlighters again. I have 7y. I have a negative y. And then I have a positive 2 and a negative 3 because those two are both constants. And then I have this positive 5x here is all by itself. So if we want to simplify it, 7y minus y is positive 6y. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And then the 5x is just all by itself here. So plus 5x. And I could rewrite it to where it would be in standard form. Standard form would be 5x plus 6y minus 1. They're alphabetical. But it doesn't really ask for that, but still, it's still good for you guys to know how to do that. Okay? All right. So now number 4 here, we're going to be writing a linear equation for this one. An airplane was flying at an altitude of 350 meters when the pilot decided to land by descending at a rate of 3 meters per second. So descending at a rate of 3 meters per second. Write an equation where y represents the altitude of the airplane, which is how high it is in the sky, if X represents the number of seconds since the pilot started her landing. So we know that he started at 350 meters in the air. Okay, that was his altitude, 350 meters. So that's going to be my starting point. That's how much he started at. And then he is descending at a rate of 3 meters per second. So he's going down at a rate. M is the rate. That is the growth. So here our rule is y equals, and descending means it's a -3 per second. X, it tells us X represents the seconds, the number of seconds since the pilot started her landing. Okay? And the pilot was 350 meters in the air. So that was their starting point. So this would be the equation here. So it's really analyzing what information it gives you and what is the rate, what is the starting point, etc. Okay? So here we go. So the relationship between the average rating for a resort in a particular city and the average daily price of a room at the hotel can be modeled by the equation y equals 50x plus 75, where x is the average rating of the resort from 0 to 5 stars, and y is the average room price in dollars. So it says here, how much should someone expect the average price of a room to be for a 4-star resort in this city? So we know that X is the stars, right? Is the rating from 0 to 5. So it tells us that we have a 4-star resort. So we need to plug in a 4 there if it's a 4-star resort. And then we're going to use the equation that represents the cost of a hotel room. So y is the cost. And the equation to determine that is 50x plus 75. We know our x is 4 because this particular hotel is rated at 4 stars. So now we just have to simplify. 50 times 4 is 200, plus 75 is $275. That would be the average cost of the room if it was a 4-star resort. Okay. So again, please be pausing the video and doing these on your own first and then checking your work with mine. All right. Number 6, fill in the XY table for the equation, which is also called a rule, y equals 2x minus 3. So if we have y equals 2x minus 3, okay, the x's are going to be plugged in as the input. So all of these are going to be inputs. Okay. So those are all my inputs there. Let's see here. I need to... There we go. All right. So if I wanted to check out what -2 would be, if my input was -2, okay, if I'm plugging in a -2, minus 3. You can also use Desmos for this. Remember, I just can't right now because my Screencastify still won't let me do a split screen while recording my screen. So 2 times -2 is -4, minus 3 is -7. Okay, so now if I wanted to plug in a -1, which is my next input for x there, minus 3, 2 times -1 is -2, minus 3 is -5. And now we start to notice, oh, remember the 2 there, the 2 in this equation here, that is the growth or the slope. Okay? And then also this one right here, the -3, that is my starting point or my y-intercept, which is where x equals 0. So I know that right here at 0, okay, this one, hold on, that's lame. There we go. So that number right there needs to be a -3. And that makes sense because if I were to go on and add 2 to -5, because that's my growth, I get -3. I can add 2 again each time here in order to fill in the rest of the table. You could keep on plugging in the inputs into the equation, but this might be a little bit faster. And again, please use Desmos Scientific Calculator to check your work on these problems. So -3 plus 2 is -1. -1 plus 2 is +1. 1 plus 2 is 3. So now we have all those points there that we can plot on this graph, okay? So let's see here. I don't see any numbers here, so let's add some numbers. 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the y-axis. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. Okay. It's a lot easier when we have numbers there. So my first point I'm going to go ahead and plot is -2. Whoops. Sorry, guys. There we go. The first point I'm going to plot is -2, -7. So I'm going to go to the left 2 and then down 7. Okay. So that's my first point. -1, -5. So you always go left to right first. 0, -3 is right there. +1, -1 is going to be right there. 2, 1, 3, 3. Okay, so really I only needed to plot 2 points really to draw a line, but this kind of helps you draw a straighter line. You should also have a line tool like in Cami or something, or if you're at home you can just use a ruler. So you guys can kind of see the growth, right? The growth triangles, if I go up 2 over 1 every time, that is my slope triangle, up 2 over 1. And that is because my growth is 2. And 2 over 1 is equal to 2, rise over run, right? So that's 2 over 1 is equal to 2. Okay, so you guys can also see the slope triangles there. Just a good visual for you. And that's it for that problem. Okay? All right, so number 7, rewrite each equation into y equals mx plus b form. So I want it to look like y equals mx plus b. So we just have to move some terms around. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line down the equal sign. So whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we want to get all the y's over to the left-hand side. So my first step is to subtract 3y from both sides. 4y minus 3y is just 1y. It's going to bring down the -1. These cancel out, bring down the -3x. And now I see, okay, I have my y on the left, so I got to move that constant away from the left side. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. The 1 cannot be combined with that because it does not have an x in its term. Okay, so y equals -3x plus 1. Is that in y equals mx plus b form? It is. Okay, so we're all done there. So it just wanted us to rewrite it. It was basically us solving for y, but just getting the y by itself and seeing what the mx plus b form is. Okay, so again, pause the video because I am going to go fast. All right, so this one here, 2x plus y equals 5x plus 3. This one's nice. The y is already on the left-hand side. So here I see that we have to subtract the 2x from both sides. So we're going to be left with y equals 5x minus 2x is 3x, and then plus 3. All right, so anytime it says to just rewrite into y equals mx plus b form, you just have all the y's on the left-hand side, and then mx and the b, whatever the b is, on the right-hand side. Sometimes if, like, say if this had been a 2, then you would have to, like, divide every term by a 2 and then write it like that, because you have to have that y by itself. But in this case, we did not have that, so we're all good to go. All right. Simplify the expression, show all work. It looks like the first thing I need to do here is distribute that negative into the parentheses. So I have this negative here. We're going to go there and there. So I have 6x squared minus 8 plus 3x. A negative times x squared will be minus x squared. And then a negative times negative 11x will be plus 11x. So now we have this expression here that we can now simplify by combining like terms. Okay, so I just duplicated that over here. So I have 6x squared and negative x squared. Those two are like terms. And then I have a negative 8, but there are no other constants, so that one's just by itself. And then I have a positive 3x and a positive 11x. So those two are like terms. So now if I were to combine these, I have 6x squared minus x squared is 5x squared. And then I want to put my x's next to be in standard form. 3x plus 11x is 14x. And that negative 8 is all by itself. There's nothing to combine it with. So this answer here should be 5x squared plus 14x minus 8. Okay? Let me see how many more. Oh, this is it. Okay, so these are the last two problems. All right, so for number 9, part A, it says solve each equation. Show all work. So if I were to draw a line down the equal sign here, okay, I'm going to go ahead and first subtract 3 from both sides because I'm trying to get the x's by themselves, so I want just 6x on the left side. So now I have 6x equals 24. Now I got to get x by itself, so I have to divide both sides by 6. So x equals 24 divided by 6 is 4. Okay, and then if you were to check your work, if you wanted to do that as well, we had 6x plus 3 equals 27. That was the original. So if I were to plug in my x, I have to see, does it equal 27? So here I'd have 6, and instead of the x there, I'm going to plug in a 4. Okay, because that's what I saw for x. I got 4 plus 3. What does it equal? I want it to equal 27. 6 times 4 is 24 plus 3. 24 plus 3 is 27. So that's good because that's what it told us it equaled in the beginning. Okay, perfect. So now for B, oh, we have a fraction here. So this sometimes trips some of you up. So let's see here. If I draw my line, first I'm going to subtract that 1 away from the left-hand side. There are several ways to go about simplifying this. So we have 4/3 x. 5 minus 1 is 4. What I always like to do if I have a fraction, I want to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to flip that fraction to 3/4 and multiply both sides by 3/4. And this right here, I'm just going to show you what would happen is the 3's would cancel out and the 4's would cancel out. But I'm going to show you why. 3 times 4 is 12 over 4 times 3 is 12x. Okay? And then over here, I need to put the 4 over 1 to be able to multiply my fractions. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4. So now you guys see right here, 12 divided by 12 is just 1, right? So, and I don't have to write the 1, it's just 1x is what's left. Because 12 over 12 is just 1. So I'm left with 1x. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Okay, and you guys can check your work again. So our original equation is 4/3 x plus 1 equals 5. So if I were to plug in my x here, if my x was 3, right? Plus 1, I want to see, does that end up equaling 5? I got to put my 3 over 1 here so that I can multiply these fractions. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3. And then I have plus 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4 plus 1, 5. And it is 5 because that's what it had in the original equation. So that is how you guys can check your work there. All right, so I hope this helped you prepare for your final. Again, make sure you guys can always rewind, pause, look at another problem. Be sure to use the fall final resources